I made a video when the news broke about the Great Cleave changes, and I have to say I've got quite a lot of negative feedback, and the question is, was I wrong? So let me start off with one thing. Yes, I was wrong on definitely one point, and I thought that the majority of players overwhelmingly would probably support a little bit of a nerf to Great Cleave, but it definitely seems like when I look at my comments in that video, a lot of people are actually blaming me for the change, which by the way, I never actually advocated really for a nerf to Great Cleave. I was always actually in favour of buffing Outpost Rush and Arena. But yeah, like people are saying I got what I wanted, how can you be happy about this? And I was like, well, to be fair, I just made like a 2-minute video. I wasn't really putting that much thought into it maybe. So I definitely think I was wrong in the sense that I didn't quite understand people's overwhelming feelings about it. And for that, I guess I'm sorry, but it's not really anything major to be sorry for, I don't think. But still, I would rather be in touch with the majority of players, even though I did have some people saying on the video, hey, this is a good change. Do you know what I mean? So I'm never going to please everybody, I understand that. But generally, I want to try and represent what the majority of people think. So I was definitely wrong about, I think, the tone of what I expected the response to be. I thought most people would be like, okay, it's about time, maybe let's move on with our lives kind of thing. And then what actually is my opinion? Well, my first opinion is that this should have been balanced before they released arenas and the PvP reward track. They should have seen it coming, quite frankly. It was obvious to a lot of people before it even happened that Great Cleave was going to be a very popular destination. The missions are very quick and the reward was very high. So a lot of players could see it coming. Sort of begs the question why Amazon couldn't see it coming. And if they would have had it so that it was all balanced at the start, this question wouldn't be as toxic in the community. But failing that, once they had released it in the state that it was and the players were doing Great Cleave, what should they have done about it? Well, one thing they could have done is just leave it. A lot of people are happy with the open world PvP that it has caused. Now, on Barry specifically, I feel a bit weird saying that because Barry, it was pretty much majoritively greens running those PvP missions, and people were affectionately referring to them as PvE missions. So it felt a little bit unfair to the purples and the yellows. But then again, some people were enjoying being purple and yellows and trying to pick off people. So there was actually open world PvP. Ultimately, it's not really for me to decide what Amazon want. It's for Amazon to decide what they want and us to see if we're happy with it or not. I was personally finding the Great Cleave missions pretty damn boring. I got my PvP reward track up to about 25 and then I sort of just stopped because what was the point? I was a little bit bored of it. But I appreciate some people were running it more than that and were enjoying it, and some people weren't running it all and doing open world PvP. There were good elements to it. However, if you're Amazon and you see people going up the reward track too early than what you planned, Amazon are like, oh, we really need to stop that because maybe people are getting too much gold, people are getting too much of the PvP craft perks and all kinds of stuff, right? I can imagine that Amazon had a set rate that they wanted people to go at, and maybe that wasn't the case because they'd overpowered Great Cleave. Okay, so there's an argument for each side there. We're getting open world PvP, but to Amazon you're going up too quickly and it's bad for the game. Now there's no right answer there. It's that I don't, you know, you might be the opinion that you like the open world PvP and you should maybe go and tell Amazon that. I'm in favor of communicating that desire to Amazon. And you would have thought that in the dev update they actually mentioned how the open world fort changing was good. They were enjoying that. Not quite sure why they didn't extend that to Great Cleave. I don't, maybe again it's just simply because the reward track is going too quickly. So my main point is, firstly, it should have been fixed, it should have been balanced before it came out. Secondly, once Amazon had made the decision that they need to correct it, they obviously decided that correcting it by buffing Outpost Rush and arenas was only going to result in people going through the reward track faster, and for some reason they don't want to do that. But however, I would actually still have been primarily in favor of buffing Outpost Rush and arena at the expense of them going through the PvP reward track too quickly. And the reason for that is, quite frankly, if you nerf something, it feels bad. If you're basically giving it to the players and then you're taking it away. If you buff Outpost Rush and arena more so that the activity feels as rewarding, you're just giving to players. I always think giving to the players is better than taking away. So what they probably should have done is give to the players and come up with a different way, and maybe in the future solving the problem that they created. Now I do think, and some of you might not agree with this, that actually the Great Cleave primarily being PvP for a lot of people felt a bit stupid, and I don't necessarily think the missions themselves are all that fun. You know, it's just running to one place picking up boxes. It was only ever fun if people were PvPing, and a lot of people the PvP was getting in the way. So I do think Great Cleave might have needed to have been changed, or at least, as I said, it should have been right at the start. And what I would personally like to have seen maybe is a way of trying to keep the open world PvP, but maybe spreading it to a multiple couple of zones or something. There were some good suggestions that were saying like, hey, make the rewards dependent on how far you travel. So have Great Cleave be a little bit less because it's close, have Morningdale be more because it's far away, that kind of stuff. And I think that would be a good start. I think that's a good idea. But ultimately, I do think Great Cleave was a little bit weird, right? I'm not saying it was bad because the PvP was good, but for a lot of people, it was just PvE. I think there would really need to be a better way of getting people to actually PvP. Maybe you can buff the actual PvP medallion thing, make it so that if you're actually involved in a fight, you get a medallion first and foremost. There's quite a few times where I would fight a big group, I would do damage to several of them, and then not even like get the credit or not get a bag. And it's like, well, why am I going to do that when I can just run the mission? So I would maybe start there, maybe then buff that mission so that you're actually promoting the PvP rather than the PvE side of the mission, and just do stuff like that. Like, I'm not a game designer, I don't want to tell Amazon how to do it, but they could have done it in a way that promoted PvP rather than the PvE elements of those quests. However, as I said back at the start, I was actually in favour of buffing and giving to players, buff Outpost Rush, buff arena rewards, make it so they're actually in line. And they should have done that before Great Cleave was a thing, before the PvP reward track was a thing. So yes, I was slightly wrong to be, I was like quite excited about it. I was like, oh, this is good news. I thought most people would agree with me. It's good news. And most people don't. To be fair, neither do I. Like, I don't think it's great news. It's this classic thing that Amazon have done. And I mentioned about it, weirdly, I mentioned about this for the first couple of months of the game, that they would give to the players who got in there early and then they would take it away. And that, I made a video saying, expect that. Like, I literally made a video saying that's going to happen. And lo and behold, it has. So there's a classic phrase, exploit early, exploit often. It's obviously not an exploit, but when you see something that's too good, you know Amazon are going to come down in a way that's generally bad. So I would recommend getting in there early, as long as you're not actually going to get banned for it. But this is like a game mechanic, of course you're not going to get banned for it. But yeah, in general, Amazon do this thing where they let the players who get in there early benefit the most, and then they take it away for the people who maybe you didn't have time, maybe you've not been able to play for the last couple of weeks and you're way behind on the PvP reward track. Well, feels bad, man, you don't get the chance. And for you guys, I deeply sympathize. But let's put the blame strictly here on Amazon. Either they made it so that people were going through the reward track too quickly and they didn't want that, that's their fault, or they need to come up with a better system to encourage the world PvP. I don't think I bloody should be blamed. I don't think any sensible person really does blame me. I was generally in favour of buffing it anyway. I never said nerf Great Cleave like strongly. I was just sort of trying to balance between what some people were saying that it's PvE and it wasn't really much PvP, and some people saying actually it is creating PvP. Like, I'm not the designer. I shouldn't be beholden to fixing the game. Like, not my prerogative. I just tried to highlight issues, and this was an issue that's got like pros and cons. But yeah, I definitely agree. It feels bad when Amazon take things away. It would have just been better for everybody involved if they just made Arena and Outpost Rush better. Now, one thing about Arena, I absolutely hate it because I really generally only solo queue, and solo queuing in Arena is absolutely hot garbage. I strongly dislike it, so personally not really bothered about Arena. I'm mostly bothered about Outpost Rush, and the rewards are okay. I do wish the games were a bit shorter. I'd like a battleground that was like 20 minutes. I don't really want to take the risk of wasting 40 minutes in a game that I might ultimately lose and not have much fun in, so I would prefer a much shorter battleground. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm sure you will. Bit of a weird rambly video, but I just wanted to have this conversation because I felt a little bit out of sync with the community, and I've never really had that before. And I think it was just because I presented it like I was super excited about it, and I never really gave the caveats that I was feeling, if that makes sense. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Have a most beautiful day. Goodbye.